Hello, lovely folks of YouTube, Ren here. So I have a very common plant here in, at least in North America, most of Europe, and it's been introduced into Australia, although it's probably considered to be a weed there. Mine is a little different from what you might see in the wild, but it's still the same plant. This is yarrow, Aquileia millifolium. This is very, very, very common plant. Loves open fields, roadsides, any place with a lot of sun and really good drainage. It is perennial, grows in most temperate regions, anywhere zones 3 to 9. It can take a little bit of shade and stress, but like I said, usually prefers that sun. Now, the common yarrow, which is typically either yellow or white in its flowers, grows to about 2 to 3 feet tall, which is a bit taller than what I have here. It has been very widely bred for the plant trade though, and a lot of the cultivars come in really interesting colors, and that's what one of these is. I actually don't know which cultivar this particular plant is. I got it on clearance at the hardware store for $3 several years ago. It did not have a tag on it, but I knew what it was, and it's this lovely, lovely, very deep pink color in the flowers. But you can see some that are red, like a brick red color. I've seen them in orange. Every shade you can possibly imagine in that pink, yellow, white range, you can usually find yarrow. The name, of course, Millifolium, is in reference to the leaves, which I will take one off. Well, no, I don't want to pull one off. I'll give you a close-up in a second. But they're very, very, very finely divided. Millifolia literally means 1,000 leaves, and that's how the leaves actually look. They kind of resemble a feather almost in how finely divided they are. Very fragrant herb. Sort of has a fragrance almost resembling a chrysanthemum. So definite, you know, has real herbal flavor to it that's really pleasant actually. Let me give you a little bit of a closer look here, and I'll talk about how you can cultivate this plant. So here you can see it a little bit closer up. You can see it makes these sort of flat compound flowers coming off of several stems. And the leaves, of course, have that nice, very finely divided foliage to them. So, now, like I said, this plant does grow pretty readily in the wild, most commonly in white or yellow. If you don't have a lot of experience with this plant though, be careful in harvesting it from the wild, because there are a few plants that have sort of a similar appearance to them that can be poisonous. You know, a lot of the umbrella phase, like hemlock, have that same sort of like flat top flowers with finely divided leaves, but they're really, really not good. So if you don't know what you're doing, don't mess with it. It is always my advice. This plant does grow pretty readily from seed, and that's actually the primary way that it spreads in the wild. These little teeny flowers will make little teeny tiny seeds that spread by the wind and will just go everywhere. In addition to that, this plant also makes little sort of rhizome stems that grow along the ground and spread that way as well. So you can see where my clump has mostly been spreading by rhizomes. Those little, like this little clump here has come off of the main clump. I have another one which I cleared some of the weeds out so you can see it better. So this is one that I actually moved that little pup further out in order to encourage this plant to spread more widely afield. In the garden trade, of course, with the fancy cultivars, you're less likely to get them to seed, and even if they do seed, they're probably not going to be true to seed, meaning that the plants that grow from the seeds aren't going to look the same as what you bought. So those are usually spread and cultivated through the root divisions, those little rhizomes that spread off into the clumps. And that's a good way to increase your plant size or to get extra plants to share with others. So anyway, let's go back and we'll talk about some of the historical magical uses of this plant. So I mentioned how the name Millifolium in the species name comes from the actual leaf itself, which means 1,000 leaves. The genus name, though, Aquileia, actually does come from Achilles. Greek mythology holds that the great physician Chiron, the centaur, taught Achilles how to use this plant to staunch the blood loss from his soldiers in battle. And this is one of the reasons why one of the common names of this plant is woundwort, or soldier's woundwort. So that was one of the really historic uses of this plant. This herb is generally considered to be under the dominion of Venus, sort of canceling out those Mars energies of bleeding is one of the reasons why this is under that dominion. I have seen this plant put under the dominion of water as far as elements go, but this doesn't really seem like a watery plant to me, especially because it prefers a drier site usually. I put this plant under air. The very finely divided leaves, the fragrance of the plant, all of that talks to air to me. That fragrant, drying nature, very air to me. So, this plant, very widely used in love spells. Again, that's that Venus influence there. And particularly in divinations of love. So there's a lot of folklore in Europe about how you can use yarrow in order to sort of divine who your true love was going to be. This was also used in Asia as well for divination. These really, really straight, sturdy stalks of the yarrow plant were actually used for throwing the I Ching. So we're not the, sort of multicultural, numerous cultures have used this for divination. So this is definitely a plant that can be used to enhance your own skill in divination. One of the other common names for this plant is devil's nettle. So there are two possibilities for that. One is that it could be because this plant was widely used in spell work and divination. And obviously, there was a particular time in the past, thankfully it's in the past, right, where spell work and divination was seen as the work of the devil. I'm being a little sarcastic, yes. But there's also the fact that this plant was used for exorcism. There are a lot of medieval grimoires that actually use this for the exorcism of demons. So that could also be why it was called devil's nettles, because it chased away the devils. So it's, it's hard to say. Take that as you will. Whichever you feel is more correct, go with that. One of the things that I like to use this plant for personally is for dispelling fear and self-deprecating thoughts. This was one that was really considered to be very good for that. In that regard, it's also used to improve your psychic ability, mainly because you're kind of dispelling and breaking away those blocks that basically tell you you can't do this. So it's really, really helpful for that. So, love spells, improving your psychic ability, divination, basically if I'm going to be doing some sort of divination, whether it be tarot or scrying or anything of that sort, drinking a tea that has yarrow in it beforehand is always helpful. Putting yarrow into an incense is helpful in that regards. It's just a really helpful plant for that sort of work. So, and pretty easy to find if you know what you're looking for. So, if you can't find it, it's also pretty easy to grow. I had another yarrow. It was a more wild type yarrow, and it would pop up in my lawn all the time. So it's a pretty friendly plant and pretty easy to work with. So, and apparently you can sometimes find it on clearance at the hardware store for $3. So good luck with that. Anyway, as always, this is all I have for you for this one. I had to wait until I had some shade because I'm hot. It is hot. I am hot. It's getting hot. I don't know how many more videos I'm going to be able to do outside. Certainly not during the day, but I'm going to try my best. Hope this video finds you well, and I will see you again soon.